I hope you guys are doing well tonight. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the 5 talking points video after our 5-0 win against Dynamo Kyiv last night. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about RUBEN, HUDSON ODOI, AMPADU, CHRISTENSEN and Olivier Giroud, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Before I get into anything you guys, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. I want to say thank you to everyone that helped support me and support the channel. By downloading the app, you're getting a worthwhile product in the OneFootball app. I constantly use it every single day. I'm always talking about the alert feature that OneFootball have. I'm able to get up-to-date latest news regarding clubs or players of my interest. All I have to do is follow the club or player of my interest and I get daily news on the player. If you guys want that, in the link in the description below will be a link to the OneFootball app. Starting with the first talking point, that's in regards to our next opponents in the Europa League. That is going to be SLAVIA Prague. Now, they've done amazingly well to beat SLAVIA and to qualify for the quarterfinals. I have a feeling that I'm going to have a lot of fun researching this team. Expect me to find the games they played against SLAVIA. I'm going to watch them, I'm going to analyze them to get an understanding of how our opponents are going to be. Let's be serious though. Out of all the clubs we could draw right now, we all wanted SLAVIA Prague. And it's just that type of luck that Sarri's needed. It's good to know that he's getting that luck in the Europa League, and let's hope that luck continues all the way to the final where we lift the trophy at the end of the season. Moving on to the second talking point, that's in regards to HUDSON ODOI and RUBEN, and I'm going to say it now. If Hazard does decide to leave at the end of the season, I feel like our long-term future is in safe hands with RUBEN and HUDSON ODOI. And notice that I stress our long-term future, because now should be the first time in a decade that we look to develop players that we have. And I'm sorry, if you've got HUDSON ODOI and you've got RUBEN, they're players that have world-class potential, and I feel like their development is coming at a crucial time where they can really be successors to Eden Hazard. Now, that's not me saying that if we sell Hazard, let's not reinvest the money back in the team. For me personally, if we sell Hazard, I want to reinvest the money on a right winger and a striker, because I feel like down the left hand side with RUBEN and HUDSON ODOI, I think we're more than good, and I want to see these players playing together over many years. Now, of course, it's hard to replace Eden Hazard with one individual, but I feel like if we sold Hazard and it meant that RUBEN and HUDSON ODOI are going to play together down the left hand side, I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. Now, as you guys can see on the screen, you can see the heat map produced by RUBEN against Dynamo Kyiv over both legs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be comparing him to Ross Barkley and his heat map to really show you guys the difference. Now, yes, I do understand that I can't be super accurate. I know that Barkley only played about 60 minutes in the first leg against Dynamo Kyiv. RUBEN played the full 90 minutes. But even then, it's not going to be super accurate. You can still see a visible difference in the heat maps. Look at how green RUBEN's heat map is compared to Ross Barkley, and look at the area in which it's concentrated in. RUBEN is just providing everything we need in our number 8. Look at the areas in which he's receiving the ball a lot of times. This is why it's easy for us to transition from defense to attack, because RUBEN's always been instrumental in making that happen. He's super press resistant. And that ability to constantly beat his man in those areas is essential, because normally when he's beating his man, all he has to do is either run with the ball or play a quick pass through the space, and that's it. And that was how he was able to get the assist for the first goal and make the second goal happen as well. As you can see, Ross Barkley just doesn't really provide anything during that phase of our game. He doesn't really help us with our build-up play, and you can see that he isn't really affecting the game as much. I see this every single time. But that low move he had at Crystal Palace last season was the difference he needed, because I feel personally that he finally had that confidence in his game to really show what he can do. Having that confidence where you're playing week in, week out helps a lot as well. And the only real annoying thing has been that he hasn't been fully fit throughout the season. I honestly feel like Sarri would use him a lot more if he was fully fit. Even hearing about the things Sarri said about him after the game, he's in high praise. He thinks RUBEN can be one of the best midfield players in the league and in Europe. And if Sarri's saying something like that, it means that he really believes in the player. Moving on to HUDSON ODOI, and again, every opportunity he gets, he's making something happen. And I told you guys in the match review after our draw against Wolves that, yeah, HUDSON ODOI was a bit average compared to his usual standards, But I told you that expect him to come back really raring to go, having that fire in his belly, and he comes with an assist and a goal. I think this guy is ready now, and I think it's such a unique position we're in right now. You know, we've got a talent in Hudson Odoi that's coming through at the exact right time where we need a player of that stature, especially when it's looking like Hazard is going to be signing for Real Madrid. And we're seeing that Hudson Odoi is basically teasing us in regards to the fact that yes, he can take over the mantle left by Eden Hazard. Now, as I said earlier at the start of the second point, it's about time now that we start developing some of these players. We don't constantly need to buy ready-made replacements every single time. I feel with Hudson Odoi and his qualities, and because he plays on the left-hand side as well, it's the perfect opportunity to allow him to grow and become that #1 player for us down the left-hand side. That Hazard money can be reinvested on a right winger, which we desperately need, and a striker. I feel that's the best thing to do so far this season. He's got 6 goals and 4 assists, barely playing any football at all. A lot of his game time has been coming near the second half of the season, but it's looking very likely that he's going to have at least 10 goals in all competitions by the end of the season. And for an 18-year-old, if he potentially gets to 10 goals, that's incredible. How many 18-year-old players are getting near that goal range? How can you really try and deny him the game time to grow and improve by signing a replacement in front of him? I don't necessarily think that's the best thing to do. I think now he's shown that yes, he can play with the team and at this level, and he's only going to get better over the years. One player I'm going to use as an example is Raheem Sterling. Now for me, Hudson Odoi is much better than Sterling at the same age, but look at how Sterling's developed over the years. He's like 24 years old now. He's one of the best players in the Premier League, regularly scoring goals. It was a very long process, you know, it's taken him basically 8 years, making his debut as a 16-year-old to playing how he is now as a 24-year-old. It does take time, but with Callum and his development being so far ahead already, it seems pretty stupid to me to not have faith in the youngster and give him that faith that yes, we believe in you, you are going to be our successor to Eden Hazard. Moving on to the third talking point, that's in regards to Mr. Europa League himself, Olivier Giroud. 9 goals in this competition so far. Incredible, it really is. And the type of goals he's been scoring as well have been top class. And honestly, his form is coming at the perfect stage of the season. I think that he's going to give Sarri a very good problem, because now Sarri really has to consider, wow, I've got Olivier Giroud who's on form, on point, and he complements the team very well. And I have to say, I was quite harsh when we first signed Olivier Giroud. Of course, that was when we had Conte as a manager at the time, and I felt like with how we're going to use Olivier Giroud, he's not really going to be the player to take us to another level. But now that we have Higuain in front of him, Olivier Giroud is a second choice striker, playing in a team that plays expansive good football. It seems to be getting the best out of Olivier Giroud, where you start to see his playmaking abilities. And I think it's his ability to get the best out of the team. And how exactly does he do this? He helps the wingers because he frees up space for them. He helps them by doing his layoff passes, by occupying defenders and actually distracting them. And also he helps free up space in the team as well, because his passing is very crisp, it's very quick. Most times his passes are one touch. And when you have a forward playing alongside, you know, fast attacking players that love to get in behind, he's the perfect player for the team. Giroud could be very important for us, and I'm hoping that he's going to continue to start in Europa League games. I hope that he continues to play in every single game, even if we get to the final, because I think his form has deserved it. And you know what, I do like to be wrong once in a while, and I'm happy that Giroud is performing, he's doing his thing, and long may it continue. Moving on to Ethan Ampadu, and quite a lot of Chelsea fans were quite frustrated that Sarri wasn't using him. I've got a bit of a different take on this. For me personally, I feel like Ampadu is one of the players that needs a good loan move. He needs a loan move where he's going to be on loan for the next 2 years. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we've got Luiz, we've got Christensen, we've got Rudiger, we've got Zuma coming through, we've got Tomori. And in my opinion, I feel like those 5 are better than Ampadu right now. That doesn't mean that Ampadu isn't a good player. It just means that we're blessed when it comes to having good central defenders. It's a good problem to have, but I think what Ampadu needs now is to be playing consistent football week in, week out for the next 2 seasons. He can definitely play a contributing factor in the long term. And I think that's how we need to start seeing things as fans at the club. Let's think of the long term instead of the short term every single time. Yeah, I do agree with people. I would have used AMPADU yesterday. I think that Dynamo Kyiv posed no threat whatsoever, and it's good for him to get that game time. But let's be serious, as the season goes on, AMPADU really isn't going to be playing as much. And honestly, it does frustrate me that he hasn't been given a loan move. And I hate how we develop young players. I think it's disgusting. I'm really annoyed by it. There's been so many examples where young players have been stopped getting top loan moves because, we have this really old-fashioned mentality where we're not going to let anyone leave until a replacement comes first. And because it takes us so long to get these replacements in the first place, eventually the club doesn't want the young player anymore. And what ends up happening is they end up moving to a pretty average team or poor team because that's the only clubs they can go to. Now, I brought up this point because AMPADU could have gone on loan to Torino, and I feel like he needs to get a top class loan move. He can't be going to the Championship. I'm hoping for next season, Borussia Mönchengladbach or a Portuguese team are going to come through and take him on loan. I think that's the best step for Ethan's development right now. And to end things briefly on the final talking point, that's in regards to Andreas Christensen. The guy produced the most passes for us over both legs, 96% possession. Ridiculous. He doesn't give the ball away. And I feel like we have to understand the player that Christensen is. A lot of times throughout this season, he was criticised for not having expansive passing, but I think that makes no sense because he's never been a player that's done that anyway. But we know that he doesn't give the ball away. He carries the ball very well. He reads the game exceptionally well. He probably is our best out-and-out defender at the club right now, and I feel like he's someone that should be playing more. And honestly, I think we'd be a much stronger defensive team if he was partnering Luiz or Rudiger. I feel with Luiz or Rudiger, as I've said so many times before, they need a defender like Christensen beside them who's going to cover for them in behind, who's going to analyse the game, who's going to actually help things on the counter-attack. How many times with Rudiger and Luiz where if a team are through on goal, you only either see Rudiger or Luiz. You don't see both of the players back together, and that goes to show that they're too stylistically similar. And I always think the best partnerships are the ones where, two defenders are complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses. So far, currently right now, Luiz and Rudiger really complement each other's strengths, but they don't complement each other's weaknesses. And I think this is where Andreas could come and do his thing. But anyway, you guys, that's going to bring an end for today's 5 talking points video. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.